All right. Hello, everybody. This is Yelena Sue Basic with Massey Consulting. Hope everyone's having a great day so far. Had a good weekend. Thanks for being patient. We were having some audio issues, but we are ready to get started. We'll just be kind of briefly highlighting the major things that came out for Sage Intacct's Release 4, which came out Friday night. And this will be presented by Philip Massey. And if at any point in the presentation you have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat box on the GoToWebinar control panel to your right, and we will answer them either at the moment or towards the end. So don't hesitate to ask any questions. And Philip, if you want to go ahead and get started, that'd be great.
Okay. All right, y'all. Thank you very much. And just double checking here, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So as Yelena said, having some audio difficulties today, I had to kind of resort to a backup plan, maybe C or D. So appreciate your patience while we get this going. But today we are talking about Sage Intacct, and we're going to talk about some Release 4 highlights. So if you guys didn't know, when you went home this past Friday and hopefully did not worry about work over the weekend, when you came back in on Monday, you're on a brand new version of Sage Intacct. So Release 4, again, one of those benefits of having the cloud-based system with quarterly releases, you don't have to dig in and prepare for an upgrade, etc. You just enjoy the benefits. All right. So we're going to talk today about Release 4. Hopefully no one probably even noticed that changes were made unless you were looking for a particular fix. That's part of the beauty of having these updates in the cloud. Okay. So key topics for today's conversation. We're going to focus in on 4 main points here. And in a lot of cases, these are brand new modules that have been added into the Sage Intacct solution. So we're going to talk about these and give you some insight as to where you can find some additional information on them. So there's not-for-profit revenue recognition that is new in this release. Now, it's been re-engineered a bit as a nonprofit option. Budgeting and planning, the brand new tool that is now officially on the market for Sage Intacct. If you're looking for something more robust than Excel, let's take a look at budgeting and planning. General ledger dynamic allocations. So if you have costs that you've accumulated during the months and you want to allocate those costs ratably over different departments or divisions or any other dimension you might have, we have a modular solution for you now. And probably one of the most highly anticipated modules that I think I have ever seen on the Sage Intacct solution. And part of that reason could be that it dragged on for a while longer than originally anticipated and than most folks had hoped for. But that's the interactive custom report writer. If you haven't seen it, it's a fantastic tool. And there's videos and things, and we'll probably do much more in depth at that at a later date as well. So 4 pillars of this Release 4 that we're going to talk about today. All right. We'll also talk about contracts. Some changes to contracts, some changes to inventory, some general other updates, and then a bit of a Q&A. Okay. All right, so budgeting and planning. Now, I said the interactive custom report writer was one of the more anticipated features of R4, but probably one of the more trumpeted, the one that stirred the most buzz or had the most buzz about it at Advantage a few weeks ago was the budgeting and planning model, right? So if you're a company that is still doing your budgeting and planning in Excel, if you find that to be painful for you, if you find that you are passing around a lot of spreadsheets to different department heads, different budgetary folks, you may find that a tool like Sage Intacct Budgeting and Planning would be a good option for you. It helps you eliminate the pain of Excel. It helps you, you immediately synchronize data with Sage Intacct to different models and scenarios. And it works within your organization to align with your dimensions, to align with your, your departments, your divisions, whatever those different dimensions are, really helps you align your organization with your budget. And then there's different levels of security that are involved, and et cetera. Pricing on it is broken out basically for the modules that you would need, and then also for the different types of users that you would need as well. So would love to give you pricing one-on-one if you're interested in that. Definitely could do that. But it's basically the core module, and then a business type user where they can go in and make changes to budgets or create different reports, etc., as well as a read-only user if you would want them to just be able to view reports. Of course, the read-only users are substantially cheaper than the others, but happy to work with anyone and give you guys a quote should we need to. So, since this is a brand new module, I haven't tried this in a GoToWebinar session before, but there is a video here that talks a bit about the Sage Intacct budgeting solution. Let's see. Click the sound. I'm not hearing anything. So I tell you what, I am going to. We'll send that out to everyone so that you can see the actual video. We'll make sure that you guys get that. And certainly, if anybody needs a demonstration of it, I'm more than happy to do a demonstration. The last piece on this that I'll leave you with the budgeting and planning is that it was originally the Budgeta tool. That's Budgeta. And Sage Intacct purchased Budgeta and turned it into the budgeting and planning module for Sage Intacct. So Budgeta had only created one interface for their software, and that was with Sage Intacct. Made sense. Sage Intacct acquired them and brought them in as the budgeting and planning module. Okay. So if you need any help with this, if you want to take a look at it, more than happy to do so, and can kind of walk you through the product and the process, talk about pricing, etc. So next is the much desired interactive custom report writer. So you can see a little bit of a tease there on the screen. That's an invoices paid and outstanding with color coding, based on the number of days that it took them to pay, whether they were on time or late, as well as kind of highlighting ones that are overdue or weren't paid within a certain time frame. Okay. It's only available in the Action UI. So if you haven't made the move over to the Action UI, you need to do that. Again, February is going to be sort of the drop dead date for the Action UI. So if you haven't made the move by then, you will make the move at that point. It just won't be your choice. So if you haven't, jump over into the Action UI and let's start getting accustomed to it before they cut it off, or before they force you to that one. It has drag and drop creation, drag and drop report creation. Makes it easy. It really does. I sat in the lab for the Interactive Custom Report Writer at Advantage. Was actually kind of hoping to show it to you today, but didn't quite get everything set up over the weekend after they turned it on. So hopefully we'll have another event for that. But I did fit in on the class at Advantage. It's extremely straightforward. I'm not going to tell you it's easy, but it is straightforward. So if you can follow through general report writing guidelines, I think you'll be extremely pleased with what the custom report writer is able to do. And I was also very surprised at how powerful it could be from a calculation standpoint, right? A lot of, even down to SQL-like qualities with if-then statements and different types of calculations, those kinds of things, very, very nice. Has the capability to do pivot tables, as it says here. And then, as with everything in Intacct, you have the ability to drill down to those transactional details. So you're able to write reports like this one you see here on the screen, invoices paid and outstanding with color coding. If you see one that you want more information about, you can drill down into that invoice and see perhaps the invoice, the line items, whatever it may be, right? So there is a fee for the interactive custom report writer. There's two ways to license it, basically. So you can either license the report writer, and then it's available within your organization, or you can purchase a license to run interactive custom report writer reports and have your friendly neighborhood Sage Intacct consultant, such as Massey Consulting, write a report for you, load it into your environment, and then you can run it. Of course, the only drawback to that is if you want to make a change, then you would have to come back to us, and we would make that change for you, right? So if you're only going to have a couple of reports, maybe that would be a great way to go. But if you feel like you've got a lot of just report writing just pent up in you that really wants to get out, then I think probably licensing the module would be a great way to go, okay? But this is a fantastic custom report writer. I participated in the beta. I participated in the full product at Advantage, the sessions that they had. It's high quality. It took them a while to get this out, but it is high quality, and I like it a lot. So dynamic allocations. Dynamic allocations is a new module inside the Sage Intacct solution, and yes, truthfully, read that as an additional module with an additional cost, yes. But basically what it allows you to do, for example, is if you code all of your G&A expenses, rent, utility bills, those kinds of things to an account, and then at the end of the month, end of the quarter, whatever your time frame is, you want to allocate that money out over certain programs, divisions, departments, whatever you use in classes, whatever you're using your dimensions for, you would be able then to allocate those funds. Now, extremely useful in a nonprofit environment because they have a tendency to do a lot of those types of allocations, but really could be useful in most any industry. And again, because Sage Intacct is so flexible with the industries that it works in, based on the way that you can repurpose your dimension, really could be used in most any organization. So the way that it works at a high level is you go up and set up your allocation templates. I want so much to go to this program, so much to go to this one, and then this one. And then when the process runs, it will then take those monies out of that account and allocate them to the correct account. And when I say account, perhaps take them out of a dimensional value and then allocate them to other dimensional values, right? So it allows you to predefine your basis here, for example, like 30%, 5%, 15%, 50%. And then it takes those percentages, turns them into dollars, and journalizes those dollar movements over to different dimensional values. Automates that whole process. Okay. So there is a price attached to that one. Like I said, new module, new functionality. There's going to be a price attached to it. If you're interested in that, let me know what that is. Also happy to do a demonstration for you. Anything like that along those lines that you might need. Not-for-profit revenue recognition module. Okay, so basically this was brought about to ensure compliance with the new ASU 2018-08 standards. And for those of you on the call that may be in other industries, if you've heard a lot about ASC 606 over the last year and a half, 2 years, this is sort of the nonprofit version of that with ASU 2018-08. Okay, so Intacct's taken all the work that they've done for other industries with with revenue recognition, and they've repurposed that to fit the subtle nuances of the not-for-profit market space. Full range of options, as it says here, for revenue recognition, whether it's milestone, performance, or installment. So can accommodate most any of the accepted means of revenue recognition for not-for-profits. And then also ties in very nicely to the grant tracking and billing module. Now, in a sense, under the covers, basically what they've done is they've taken project accounting, project costing and billing. They've taken the revenue recognition module. They've looked at them and they've adapted them again for the subtle nuances of the not-for-profit market space. A little bit of different tracking here, a little bit of different revenue recognition there based on the different standards, but they took the base of what they already had and they adapted it to work well in the not-for-profit arena. And that's one of the great things about the Sage Intacct solution. It does work across a lot of different industries, but it also, from a development standpoint, gives them a head start on adhering to a lot of things in these different industries as well. So geared specifically towards not-for-profit, both revenue recognition as well as grant tracking also. So that's a key component as well. So when we talk about contracts, we've made some moves to improve insight and efficiency for those kinds of businesses. The digital board book, for example, has more flexibility inside of it in regards to the different postings. So for the for the entries, for the dollar values that affect things that are on that digital board book, you've got a tremendous amount more flexibility. For example, with what kinds of entries you look at, how those entries are treated on the digital board book. Prior to this release, it was a very strict set of guidelines that had to be adhered to from the start of the implementation of digital board book all the way up to, using it day to day. Lots of guidelines that absolutely had to be followed. Now they have gone back and sort of re-engineered that module to make it a little bit more user-friendly. Okay. Greater control and automation when creating contract lines and revenue postings. So you've got more choices with the contract line items, both in regards to how the line items themselves are created, as well as how the revenue is posted in the RevRec module. Okay. You've got some increased auditability of the cancellation workflow and additional billing filters over in the contract module as well. So a lot of good advances in the contracts module in release 4. Still making progress with that, still improving it just like every other aspect of the system to make things easier for the end users, which is the overall goal, period. So 2 big enhancements on the inventory side for companies that do have inventory. If you need it, Sage Intacct now has landed costs, right? You're able to, and there were some companies that have been on beta landed costs, but it's more generally widely released with this one. So now you can automate cost layer adjustments for invoices that are related to purchase of goods. If you buy a shipment of widgets from China, you will get an invoice for, of course, for the shipment of widgets. You also then get an invoice or invoices for the transportation. So Sage Intacct now can go back then and associate the costs of transportation back to the inventory items and give you that full burden cost of those items. Replenishment, automated reordering and fulfillment with automated generation of POs. So Sage Intacct now has a process inside the inventory module where you can set reorder amounts, quantities, lead times, all those things, and you can go in and have the system sort of do calculations for when you're going to reach those order points and what things you need to order. It's going to look at your inventory, it's going to look at POs already issued, it's going to look at sales orders, and pull all that information together and then generate purchase orders for the items that you need to purchase. Okay, so it's part of that focus that Intacct has on the inventory module and somewhat on the distribution market space to be able to grow that. So some of the foundational features of that are here with landed cost and replenishment. So it's exciting to see those in. If you have any questions about those, let me know. I think, and please don't hold me to it, and this is being recorded, so I'm saying don't hold me to this. I think these are actually in an advanced inventory module, but I haven't seen anything come out with pricing on that yet, so there's a chance that they may get worked into regular inventory. But if you have a need for these, then either of these modules, let us know, and happy to run through them in detail and give you a pricing quote for both. So a couple of additional changes, and some of these are big, but just not, new module type big. So, for example, on the CRM integration, now you have a lot more options about synchronizing historical records in bulk. Previously, there was a lot of one-offs, a lot of manual work to get the Salesforce connector to synchronize historical data. Now they've built in processes to be able to handle that synchronization much easier and much faster. So it makes your implementation go quicker. Could make, if you're upgrading from the old connector to the new one, will make that part go faster. And in general, they've tweaked a lot of the workflow behind the advanced CRM integration to just make that part much more user-friendly and faster as well. Changes to some of the reports, just different stylings, different versions of reports, maybe a little tweak here and there. But you need to get in the new Action UI in order to see some of those new reports, and in some cases, maybe depending upon the tweak to the report. So another encouragement to get over to that Action UI. You can post timesheet hours to close periods in projects, so you don't have to open the periods back up anymore in order to post your timesheets there. So that's a really nice to have thing. Here's one that kind of slipped under the radar a bit that I think could be pretty big. Billing general ledger transactions within the project create invoice screen. So now if you make an adjustment to the general ledger and you need to bill that out on a project, you'll have the ability to see the entry in, check some boxes, and it will show up in the project generate invoice window, giving you the ability to turn that into an invoice. Okay, so you don't have to go to AP anymore, and run through and check the box to bill and so forth and things like that. You will have the ability to bill based on the GL transaction, which again, to me, is kind of a big deal from a project standpoint. Great way to do a miscellaneous type invoice if need be. And you can include vendor stock numbers now in custom printed purchasing documents. So, yay! We've had a few customers ask for that. And finally, getting to the point where you can print the vendor number on the custom PO document. So you can send a vendor a PO now, and you can put their item number on it instead of just yours. Okay, so how can you learn more about this? Well, one fantastic, great place to go is on the community. So the Sage Intacct e-learning has free videos, and truthfully, these are on YouTube. So once you get to the first one, you can jump to the rest over in YouTube and just run them straight from there. You can probably do a search on YouTube and find them on there as well. But there's a number of videos. So there's your budgeting and planning overview, building a budget demo, dynamic allocations, interactive report writer, a number of great videos. And they're not terribly long. They look like they're about 6 or 7 minutes apiece for the most part, 11 minutes for the release for highlight. But if you haven't seen these yet, these are great, absolutely wonderful to look at and to go through and learn more about the individual components behind the release 4 update. All right. Well, that's what I wanted to take you through today. So right about on time. So I'll open it up now for questions. Y'all, I don't know if you've seen anything come through on your end or not.
I haven't, but I mean, we can give it a minute or two if people want to type anything in. And I was going to say, this slide deck and recording will be sent out later today. So you'll be able to view that budgeting and planning video and look through this stuff, you know, at your own convenience if you'd like. And then like Philip said, it's a lot of the information is in the community as well. So, I'm not seeing anything come through. So I think we're good. But I hope everybody has a great rest of your week and a great Thanksgiving. Eat a lot of food, relax, stay safe. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us, and we're happy to give you more information on pricing and stuff, or any of the things that we went over today. So,
All right.
all
Yeah.
right.
Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.